Hello. Welcome to another episode of IG Reads. And we are going to Senegal. I'd made reference to Mariama's bar so long later. I can't even remember what episode ago, but we are back in Senegal. And we are going to be reading The Dream in Gold, written by Mai Sennaar. It's published by Zando SJP Literary Publishers. And it's a pretty long read, but per usual, I'm going to find a way to shorten it and also keep it exciting as well. But it's a very interesting novel, and I'm going to be reading from chapter 5. But before we go on to talk about the book, Mai is a Senegalese writer who was shortlisted for the Center for Fiction's 2024 first Novel Prize. She splits her time between Dakar and Baltimore, and her work also incorporates cultural and musical references to Senegal. And a lot of times we see that she is dreaming out loud, as we can see in this her debut release. She's one author that I cannot wait to chop it off with, but also because she's not just a writer, but she's also a playwright and a filmmaker, and then she also speaks French and Wolof. She's born in Baltimore, raised, but I like how this novel brings her out in such a way that we can see that this is a significant step in her career. She graduated from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, and then the Smithsonian Affiliate Museum of the African Diaspora, the Berkeley Arts, what do you call it now? The Berkeley Arts Museum and Pacific Film Archive, and the Classical Theatre of Harlem are amongst the venues that have presented her plays. Her short film, Wax Lovers Playlist, premiered at AFI Silver Theatre and Cultural Center and was an official selection of the Martha Vineyard African American Film Festival. She's the book writer for Carry On, a musical by Broadway composer Diane Mai Sennaar, and the creative director of the performing arts company MWP Live. Now, she lives between Baltimore and Dakar, and gosh, I don't even know where to start because this book was a lot. Like, getting to chapter 5, I knew that I needed to read that to kind of get everyone engaged. And if I keep going, I'm going to spill everything that you need to know about this author. But let's just get into the book, guys, okay? So, chapter 5. The radio announces a black man was found dead in Geneva. 20, maybe even 40 something. He was bloated from the water, so they couldn't tell his exact age. It is a week into the opening and the best night they've had. The news plays quietly beneath the chatter of their diners. Covered in layers of dark soil from the Arve River's shore, there is a pattering of dancing feet, the squeaking of the front door as more people enter. 6'3", no ID, a single silver bracelet corroding on his wrist. The story is heard by each woman at a different moment as they walk the crowded dining room floor. Their panic moves through the room without the patrons noticing, like a stench overpowered by a stream of good aromas. Shh. The mountain dwellers are busy letting their guards down, smearing tomato jam and garlic on bread that is fresh, while more of it rises under checkered towels over the raging heads. This is all to say that they wouldn't have noticed the thing if Bonnie had not screamed. The African women crack jokes to keep the diners cool. They migrate to the kitchen slowly, but all at once, bumping into each other along the way. Sokna spills yassa on a baby's bald head. The dishwasher scotches the town's banker with palm oil. A carafe of bisap smashes on the floor. They find Bonnie in the kitchen, desperately twisting the dials on the radio for a clearer sound. Her frantic tuning only makes for more static, blurring out the report. Sokna snatches the mirror and the radio from her, tries her hand at tuning to no avail. Get Mama's radio, go! Sokna shouts at the dishwasher girl, who runs across the hall to retrieve it. Marie notes how Bonnie shakes and tries to be gentle with her, pulling her to a bench against the wall. Bonnie flinches with each burst of static, her arms wrapped tight around her body as she tries hard to breathe. The women huddle around the window, still trying to make out the report. They shush one another and shut the windows to block out the noise of diners diving in and out of the yard. Their ears are so close to the tiny speakers that they're skin to skin, and in feeling the heat of each other's flesh, the fear and the sweat, they all become more afraid. The chatter in the crowded dining room only seems to get louder, the laughter reaching a high-pitched shrill that makes Marie throw the kitchen door open. She yells into the dining room, "Shut up, please!" So we tend to get an idea of what this story is about and where it's going, but without speeding up too much, we are talking about a portion of the book where one of the characters gets wind of the fact that something has happened to a particular character in Geneva, and everyone is trying to get a sense of what is really happening in the story and how they can come in. But then again, you can see that one of the characters, who in this case is Sokna, is a little bit too, for want of a better word, affected by that newscast. And this is where we talk about the dream in gold and how it is able to weave the stories of a Black American woman's search for her Swiss Senegalese lover and the people who have shaped their lives as a couple. Now, without giving out a lot of spoilers, the opening notes in this author's novel, we see her describe a real-life dust storm in the Sahara. And then you have the effects being felt in somewhere as far as Britain. Now, looking at it and going by a review I read by the New York Times, you can tell that she is trying to ascribe that storm that she has just described in the Sahara as the reality that the world is, but is in one place. It's something that kind of speaks to our experience. I'm experiencing it in Nigeria, someone is experiencing it in Senegal, someone is experiencing it in Times Square, New York, but it's in an organic, in a tangible way. So you can see that this kind of thing is something that goes through, it kind of just seeps through the novel, The Dream in Gold, right? And it kind of just gives a powerful expression of who we are as Africans in the diaspora, and then touching of the identity of the global Black man. And then it's set in the 60s or somewhat of the late 90s, and then this is where Bonnie, who is the person who we're talking about, talks about waiting for her Swiss Senegalese lover, who is Mansour, a musician who has gone missing while touring with his band in Spain. So it is in light of that, and I'm sorry I've given out a lot of what the book is about, guys, that we read this particular chapter where a newscast is talking about a Black man being found dead in Geneva, and she now wants to set out to find out if indeed This recently discovered corpse is belonging to her lover. Now, this is the first, I must admit, Senegalese book I'm reading in a long time. I think in decades, since Mariam Asba. So long. I have to admit. And okay, that was Cameroonian. She's not Senegalese. I was going to talk about my friend, but then she's Cameroonian. She's not Senegalese. And I know that we can get so sucked in with reading, a lot of books that are originating from Nigeria, but guys, there are a lot of fantastic writing going on in the continent, and I must say, I need to keep this in mind when you pick a copy of The Dream of Gold, written by Mai Sennaar, all the way from Senegal. I can't wait for you to tell me what you think about today's reading and what you think about the book when you do read it. But till I come your way next week, Thursday, with another book, with another story, with another chapter, but more importantly, another country. I need you to keep it locked on IG Reads, happening live and only in the Bagus NG. Bye, guys.